Hello everyone, or at least those of you who are following this stream a little bit later than I was planning, but I'm here nonetheless. A little bit of a continuation of yesterday. There were so many things on my mind that I wanted to do, kind of get out of my system, idea-wise, writing things down, trying to, trying out some things, or just, making some designs, 3D models. And good morning to you, Mr. Pigments. So for my friends in the US, at least some parts, this is a little bit of a better time than going live. I plan on going live at 10 this morning. Was doing too many things at once. You probably would not have been there when I went online then. Something we can do about the white balance here. Just checking here, since I didn't really do a countdown or check up. Well, we're going to work with this. Sound and video, is that okay? I just used the same things as yesterday, since I have no idea why the 5 minutes of lag came from. Ian, welcome. Thanks for joining. Let me get my phone here. Thank you. That's good to hear. So, what my plan was today is making a thicker binder with the gum arabic powder I have here. So, I put a picture I just made of gum arabic pieces in the back, but I'm going to use powder for this idea. I want to get it open in one piece. So what I want to do, I want to put some things here as a preparation. I actually want to use half of the amount of water. And with the chunks of gum arabic, basically, like chemically, the guideline of this is it dissolves best, most efficiently, in two parts water with 1 part gum. So 100 grams water, 50 grams gum, 100 grams gum, 100 or 200 grams or milliliters of water. Milliliters and grams are equal in water. So for the metric system, that's quite convenient. Every gram of water is equal to a milliliter. But I'm going to weigh it out anyway. So 2 to 1, that's my usual recipe. Also what I usually do, I put my chunks, like this piece, in cold water, and time will do its trick. So from the things that I've read, heats can actually be of influence of the adhesive, I was looking for the word, adhesive property of gum arabic in a bad way, is what I've read. Haven't tried it because my binder works. My binder works for me. I'm very happy with my recipe, and I never saw a reason to change it or play with it or tweak it. But today I'm going to use powdered gum arabic. So with this, difference with this gum arabic, some versions that you can get, and a chunk, is that this stuff is already clean. It needs no sieving, it needs no filtering. It's clean. And how is it clean? It's not a ground up version of this. This has lots of debris in it. Let me have a look if I can show you the, well, you see the dark spots, like in here, my finger's in front of it, here, you see some dark spots, you see some nastiness in it, especially here in the gum. Well, it looks very clear and clean. This just comes from the trunk of a tree. This comes out of a tree, and the chunks that run out of the tree and dry, they break them off and they collect them, like the pieces you see around me here. So there's tree bark, there's insects, there's stuff you don't want to have in your binder. If you ground this up, the stuff is still there, obviously. So what some companies do, this is a bag from Kramer, which I bought. What some companies do, they dissolve the gum and they spray it, a very fine spray, out over I imagine a hot plate or something, or anyway, they spray it into the air. The water evaporates, and the little droplets, tiny little droplets of gum arabic solution dry out, are collected as a powder. So this is just very fine. The solution that was made by just spraying the dissolved gum arabic, there's no debris that comes with it. So that's a plus. Why am I not using this always? It's not traditional. I like the traditional stuff, the chunks. I like the filtering part. I like the process. It's part of the experience of making paint in a traditional way. But today that's going to change, or that's going to change. I'm not going to work with that. I'm going to work with heat, and I see a notification on my screen. Hopefully it's not going to be bad. I do see some lag though, a little bit. Or those were just a few frames. Okay, so I'm going to use heat because I'm going to try to use half of the water that I usually do. Yeah, the chunks and the filtering, it's obviously more messy. It's obviously more messy than the powder. The fact that you need to filter it out, that you need to clean it, it's messy. Or at least it's more of a mess. So let me get some stuff and let's get started. Where's my measuring scale? Oh, there it is. Also, and I know that there's just a few of you here, just received a lovely little tiny package from Sylvie with some cute stickers, which I will give to my girl, and a nice little note, a dot of Perylene red, which is nice, with her logo and the dot logo stamp, and some, let me get to this, rocks, which I will grind into a pigment. And I just went online without doing anything about this, so let me, that's better. So a nice little, is it better though? Is it? Sorry about this, guys. That is not good. This should be better, yeah. So a nice little dot with a of Perylene red. and the kind of violet-ish rocks, which I will try to turn into a pigment. And we've spoken about this through messages. So very kind. You use a coffee grinder to make the powder. Obviously, yeah, that's a blender or a coffee grinder. Anything with a knife that goes fast enough and is strong enough for the gum arabic pieces could work, obviously. Let me get everything I need. The water, a pot, the scale. I have the powder over here. I think I'm first going to heat the water though. So just a jerry can and so there's this going to how much? Wait, let me first see. Oh, that's 100 grams. I just want to make it like a very tiny bit first. They sell crystals that are made out of glass. Yeah, I've actually made them a few live streams back, I think. Am I going to... Oh, one moment, please. Sorry guys, just got a phone call. Let me also make sure that that is not going to happen anymore. So we have, let me first, it's not, I don't want to make too much about the, so it's just a little bit of water. Actually, I want to use a little bit less, but the live stream, I'm working with the glass pigments is the same live stream as I make the chrome orchid pigment. Let me quickly have a look for you. It's not too long ago. I know that because there's a pink that was quite similar. Yeah, making PR 236 chrome orchid. 13th of November. That's the live stream you wanna check out for the glass pigments. They're not very vibrant. that was the conclusion there. So I'm going to heat this up. I have a little stovetop in my studio as well, tiny kitchen. I'm going to heat this up, and when this is not boiling but nearly there, I'm going to add the gum arabic. And just going to slowly stir it to incorporate everything. So this is 50 grams, 50 milliliters of water. So I'll add 50 grams of gum arabic. And I'm going to have a look if that works. For me, looking at the volume of this is 100 grams and just that tiny bit of water there. So half of this needs to go in here. For me, this doesn't look very promising. It doesn't look like it that will actually dissolve here. But like I said, this is an experiment. Let's see what happens. So I'm still here though. So I will just wait till the water is a little bit, well, almost boiling. Then I need to measure 50 grams of gum. Make sure this is clean. So the reason I'm doing this is to get a thicker binder, which might come in handy for tubed paint and my 3-roll mill, or the one standing here. Already calling it mine is a bit soon, I think. So if you're here in the live, let me know who's watching, let me know who you are. Come on. That's it. There it was, 50 grams. So it's actually quite a lot. Shall I just pour the water in this one and stir it here? Maybe that's better. I want to heat it up slowly. Andrea, welcome. Thanks for joining. So I'm experimenting. I want to make a thicker binder today. And if this works, I need more powdered gum, obviously. It's a stovetop I haven't used in a long time, so it smells like you have like a heater, you know, an electrical heater that it's just turned on after it's been dusty. Stovetop, I cleaned it though, but I'm barely using it, or I've never used it here actually. So there's a little bit of steam coming off of it, not boiling, not moving yet even. But this should be hot enough. Like I said, experimenting here. And it's not looking promising at all. Doesn't feel promising. It's kind of what I expected it to be, to do. It's not enough water for the gum to really dissolve. But I'm not giving up. The weird thing is, I've never used hot water with gum arabic, like never. First time I made my binder was just with cold water, just the traditional way. The weird thing is here, that's a first for me, the hot water. It smells like a very strong kind of honey. I know there's like a sweeter smell to it. It's a gum, it's basically a tree sap sugar, but I'm really afraid this is not enough water for this to fully be incorporated. Yeah, using a mixer for this, I'm definitely going to do that. I think I have an old like blender mixer somewhere, I think, if I haven't thrown that out. But that works with bigger batches only, because this would be just, you know, stuck to the side of the glass in a blender, and so water is not too hot to handle the bowl like this. Just going to keep it moving around in the hopes that this will turn into something usable. So this I do know with powdered gum arabic. It's not clear when you mix it. You need to let it stand for it to become more clear, but yeah, I still want to be gentle with it, Ryder. I know a pestle or mortar or anything won't destroy the gum, but right now it looks like baby food or something like that. Especially with a thick wooden spoon. But I've seen people using the gum arabic powder and never end up with a clear binder. Like, you know, this is a dirty bottle, but it's my binder. It's clear. It's transparent. It's not even just transparent, so just looks like very runny honey. Obviously, when this is all dissolved, I will add the honey and glycerin, add the preservative, but it's getting there. It's definitely not ideal. It's a very sugary, overpowering sugary smell to it. And also a little bit, some acidity. No, I use a preservative. No, that's not it. I think it's over. I bought that in France, and it was actually just a clear bottle with agent conservateur or something. This isn't it, right? No, this is no, this isn't. That's the alcohol. Agent conservateur on it. And I've looked it up. I can't find it anymore. It's basically, so I bought that from an art supply shop that isn't in business anymore here in the Netherlands. And the only description it had was it's basically a how I remembered it, it's kind of a distilled version of not clove oil but a natural preservative oils, but without the smell. So the active ingredients are still there, but the harsh smell that clove oil or lavender oil or anything like that has been taken out of it. So I need to find a solution for that. I bought a conservative liquid from Kramer. I think that's a chemical one though. But if it works, it works. And really, I don't want... I have a bottle of clove oil and it's closed. There's a little security lid, a child lock on it. It's closed and I still smell it every time I open my toxic cupboard. I think it's in there. No, it's not in the toxic one. It is in the toxic one, yeah. That's the first thing I smell when I open it, is that clove scent, and that's which is weird. I don't think this is going to dissolve. But I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm just going to let it stand. Sentience, hi. So basically those properties, Ryder, are in the stuff that I use without the smell. Tea tree oil is also used. I think that's even worse, the smell. But I have a very sensitive nose. Very, very sensitive nose. It's not sensitive in a way that, you know, everything hurts or everything is too much. But if there's a scent, I quickly pick it up. And I don't want that with paint. And paint made with clove oil, I immediately pick it up. At least, you know, when you have a half pen, when it's used for painting, obviously not so much. But it's like you very finely and sift after that pureed bananas or something like that. Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't know. I think it's a shame that those things aren't taught during art history classes or even on the you know, during the art academy. It's not pigments and techniques for, you know, like that aren't general knowledge. I mean, I think it's kind of getting somewhere, but there's still loads of lumps in here. I don't want to have lumps. I want it to be lumpless. That's weird. Let's clean the brass tool. Mortar? I think this is the mortar, right? Isn't it? I was thinking about mulling. This is the mortar, right? The bowl is the pestle, right? Is that? This is so weird. So if this ever will turn into something usable, the next time I'm going to do this will be, wow, there's a lot of, wow, a small wooden spoon as a counterweight for the brass thing. Huh. It's the pestle. Welcome, Stephanie. This is the pestle, and the bowl is the mortar. I've never. I thought about that a while back when I was trying to buy antique muller on eBay. And those were used interchangeably. Sometimes I saw a pestle saying with the, sometimes they just called it grinder. For me, mortar is a better word for this. I think it doesn't look or feel like a pestle. I'm judging words here now. I'm at that point. Thanks, Ian. No, I believe Stephanie. But it turns into a kind of glue. It's getting gluey. I don't know if I like this, guys. You know what? This is like... If it's changing, I'll show you again, but I don't know if... if I really like this. Also, I need to let it rest because I want it to be clear. Definitely nothing clear about this. I think it's working though. But there's kind of a, I think it's a gut feeling. My gut is over here, but I feel this in my paint maker's heart. I would say it wouldn't feel good if I use a blender to mix my my binder with, and an electrical mixer to mix my binder with my pigment with, and then a 3-roll mill to do the dispersing. Yeah, I have a vacuum pot. It doesn't feel good to be everything, you know, to be done with an electrical device. So, yeah, I don't know. I lost the Dutch word for it, a pestle and mortar. Vijzel? I lost the Dutch word for it. That's maybe even worse. What do you mean the rolling machine? That would kind of be a machine taking over my job as well. Yeah, but that's, you know, that's kind of an inevitable part for my shoulder. But having like the entire process before that being replaced by a machine or something with a power plug as well, that kind of feels off. That I'm going to, you know, leave or going to step aside from everything that was traditional in my paint. The pestle mortar, the 3-roll mill is just doing something better. Thank you. Faisal and Stomper. Yes, thank you. Stomper, really? Yeah. Anyway, no, I do take you serious because it's a good question. Especially, you know, because I will definitely get the question, is it still handmade if I use the 3-roll mill? So I want as much parts of the process to be as authentic and traditional as possible. And obviously, how I make paint, even me sitting here with a tiny bowl and a pestle and a wooden spoon makes it fully different than, you know, the large factories and how they make paint. So it's definitely handmade paint, but using a muller is more handmade. So yeah. There's already a hand crank on it, which is that part I took off the other day for manually cleaning it. So you can turn it on, and you know, for me there's a fear for my life for the machine as well. When I'm cleaning it with the motor on, that a piece of cloth will get stuck in there and the machine is entirely broken. One, it's not mine yet. If it is mine, I need to fix it. It's not something I can afford. So for smaller tasks, there's like a little knob on the side which you can just turn by hand. But you know, I can definitely put something like that on there. But then there's my shoulder, and let it just be the exact same side that knob is there as the shoulder that I don't want to use for that. So it's definitely a thicker binder. The lumps are an issue though. So the other thing I can try is dissolve gum arabic the way I usually do. I'm not going to laugh about that, Ryder. And reduce the binder, so heat it up so the water evaporates. That's bad. What you're saying is, Ryder, not me thinking about reducing the binder that I already have. Oh, my kids are they are showing more and more interest in what I'm doing. Especially since, you know, there's always there's always the discussion, even on an adult level, is black a color, is white a color? When we're talking about pigments, absolutely. I can hold it. I can hold black pigments. I can turn my hands pure black or extremely white, just, by using pigments. With light, there's white is the reflections of all visible wavelengths, and black is the absence of any of those wavelengths, or the full absorbance, depending on if you don't have any light or the light is absorbed or not reflected. So they, under school, there are some kids saying, black isn't a color. You can't mix it, and things like that. And basically, I think, pure black, you can make a very neutral, dark. You can't mix white. You can mix white with light, though, but you can't mix it with pigments. It's a pigment of their own, and I'm trying to explain that in a way that they understand. There's a lovely book about that as well for kids. I need to look up what it's called. It's in the house. But when they come here and, I have a carpet here, and they sit there and then just look around and ask about colors and stuff like that. So they find it interesting, and it's still a weird concept for them. But I really like that they show their interest in a way that, they ask questions about it as well. Are those the stone flour mills that you pour it in, turn it around, and it comes out a little funnel. It says something that a metal bowl and a pestle make that sound. Says something about the consistency of this. Trying to get all these pieces out. Which is almost impossible. Wait, what? What sentient? I don't quite get that. In the meantime, my head is busy thinking of ways to, You know what? I'm going to let this settle first. I'm going to just let it settle and see if it clears up. See if I can get the chunks out. Maybe I can just scoop them out and grind them or dissolve them separately. I definitely like the traditional way of making this better, even if, you know, it actually worked right now. Seeing the chunks, or not seeing really, it happens quite slowly, but seeing that the chunks slowly dissolve each day, the water is colored, the chunks get smaller, seeing that happen, it does need more water. It's basically what I've read. Chemically, gum arabic needs twice the amount of water in its own weight to properly dissolve. So it's weird what I'm doing. I could have kind of guessed this wasn't going to work. So yeah, that's just on me. Which is okay. I mean, there's nothing like this. Title of this live is actually experimenting. So that's what I'm doing. I'm experimenting. Can this be used as a lid? That's too small. Let me have a look. Let me have a look if I have something else. Maybe an actual lid or something that might fit that thing. That is too small as well. Come on. Come on. Where, oh where, oh where. Should be able to find something that fits. But I'm going to let it sit like this. Hopefully the air bubbles will come out. I was asked if I had a vacuum pump. I do, but the vacuum also creates a different atmosphere, which can be seen as heat. I don't want to add more heat, so yeah. Yeah, Ryder, I will definitely, I will just let it clear. And this is basically an emulsion, so there's too many air bubbles in this for this to be clear. So I will let them pop, and I will let them go to the top. It looks like, you know, a yeast mixture or something like that. Air bubbles come out. And then I can just, you know, work a little bit more focused on the lumps that are there. But I got rid of most of them. Thank you, Stephanie. This is a good rolling chair. And mind you, there is a carpet underneath here. I replaced the wheels. It's a very old chair I have since my time in the Art Academy, I think. I replaced the wheels with like little silicone skates wheels with a connection for chairs. So they go over this carpet like they go now. So yeah, we're going to do this. I could be. That's a silly thought. Maybe that is a too silly. This isn't big enough, is it? No, that's a shame. This isn't big enough either. Wait, maybe I can just put it in there, right? No. Oh, why doesn't this fit? I would have put a lid on this or something that makes, you know, any dust or anything not enter this. No. Oh. I'm making it quite difficult for myself, I think. I don't want to make it too difficult. But I don't have any cling film here or anything I can just put over it. I'm not going to put my muller on it because that's too heavy and it will tip over. I can just literally go inside the house and take cling film, but I don't want to do that. I want to find a solution here. I'm too stubborn for that now. I know there should be something somewhere, but where? This isn't even big enough, is it? No, it's not even close. Old days, welcome. Piece of paper probably, right? You know what? I'm just going to... Bottom is a bit dirty, I think. There you go. So I'm going to let that settle somewhere. And hopefully I don't have the plastic film. Yeah, you know, yes, when I leave my studio and just walk into the house, yes, I do have the plastic film, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to walk away here. Yeah, you know, sentient about this. Looking at, you know, thinking gum arabic is a sugar, and looking at. Are you leaving, Stephanie? Evaporating it, so reducing it. It takes a lot of heat for the water to evaporate. We know the temperature, but it's also quite a lot of heat compared to what I want to use with my binder. I can try it. Shall I try it? Yeah, I'm going to take a roll of cling film, like the plastic wrapper, to the studio tonight. Definitely going to do that. I think there's a little bit of noise in the microphone. Let me see if I can fix that as well. I think that should be better. No, I don't. Oh, like that. No, I don't need the. No, I don't need a full airtight seal. No, absolutely not. I mean, there's enough air filtrators here to not make any dust. Plus, on the floor, I have a very old but a very functional a robot vacuum that does a good job cleaning the floor with dust and things like that, and is minimum what's in there every day, but it runs at night. So dust isn't really a thing here, which I'm very happy about, because when my studio was still kind of in/attached to the house, I had more dust there. Not even a dust buildup, but there was more. It was more of a thing than it is here, even so. Stephanie, yeah, I did make a video a year or 2 years ago, how I made gum arabic, how I make my binder. It's definitely not the same as I just did. So I know, that's my way of making a binder. In the video, I do also say that people boil it or use heat, use a pot to mix it, to just have a quicker process. But I once read that there's definitely a loss of adhesive strength quality to gum arabic when you heat it. But I have a lot of people who make their binder like that and sell paint that have a very successful binder as well, or something that they're very happy with. Look at this. It's a Muller stamp. This is a dirty blue t-shirt. Thank you. I think it is interesting, but my head is like non-stop on how can I do this in a way that fits me. One, doesn't influence the quality of my paint, which is maybe number one. I need to change those around. Doesn't influence the quality of my paint. My process is going to be different anyway, so I need to kind of let that go. And I've asked a few people who I saw making paint on Instagram with a very thick consistency. I asked them. None of them replied. Yeah, glycerin. Let me quickly fix something here, and let me quickly give you the exact right explanation. I have a video on that, by the way, handmade paint versus factory-made paint, which also says what it's for. So there's a list here that I have. Yeah. So I needed to look up the names, what it's officially called. Glycerin is used as a plasticizer, and it basically helps it re-wet a bit, also make it a little bit more flexible, so not cracking. Yes. Honey is the humectant, which also helps it from not cracking. And they can both be used for kind of making it redissolve a little bit easier, re-wet a little bit easier. But a plasticizer, so the glycerin is used for that mostly. The humectant, honey, is, what does handprint say? Let me have a look there. Humectant, traditionally simple syrup or honey, now often inexpensive corn syrup to help paint retain moisture. So that's especially useful in pan paints, it says. Well, that's true. Dextrin handprint says this is what dextrin is used to bulk out or thicken the paint without thicken the paint. But that's noted as an extender and filler, dextrin. I don't want to use dextrin to make my paint thicker. Thanks for asking, because I now just looked up handprint and it says it over there. Dextrin. I bought every known kind of filler, brightener, and things like that, which are available for the commercial, like for the consumer market. I bought them for video ideas, which I didn't have time for yet. To see what the, and I'm just going to share my screen here. This is handprint, for those of you who don't know it, a very, very good resource, although it's not updated anymore, I think. Extender filler. So extender filler, that's the pink part here. Binder, that's the ochre part here. The pigment is the red part. There's a brightener, the white part. You can read it probably. Well, that's not helping, is it? But I made a video about this, and basically what mine is half pigment and the other half binder. And here it is the vehicle. It's binder, plasticizer, humectant, that's in mine as well. Extender isn't, dispersant. It's not that much. I use like 3 drops of oxgal on a bottle of and water. And this water, this amount of water with that amount of gum arabic, I don't know if this water is used, if this is a dissolved gum arabic already, or if this water is used with the extender, the thickener. Because if this much water is used with that much gum, from what I'm seeing here, it's not going to dissolve. I get a notification, by the way, about my frame rate, just as you know, to YouTube. So not here, but I'm missing a lot of the chat here, sorry. I don't use clove oil. No, I talked about that in the beginning of the stream. I don't like it. I do use another antibacterial thing. No, there was just, I think there was within the communication towards YouTube, but it didn't translate into something in the stream, so that's good. Good to know. So I don't want to use any thickening agents, and there's like agar, a natural gum or a natural substance. I don't think, is it a gum, agar? I have, look what I have here. It's actually dextrin. Wow, I do have dextrin here. Let me get a look if I have something else. I do have, so these are all things I played with in my head, like what can I do with this, how can I experiment with this. Dextrin, very pure version of dextrin. Thank you very much for that. Xanthan, I think it's xanthan? Xanthan? I don't know what it's called in English. Is it in English here? No, only in Dutch. It's a gum, natural gum. It's used for thickening liquids, cold or warm. I do have that. Let me quickly look this up. That's what I remember, and xanthan gum is, I used that with, I think, a vanilla extract I made once by thickening it a bit so it could be used as a vanilla paste. But that was food-wise, and it was kind of gluey. That's what I remember. So I didn't go through with that. I don't know how much of it is needed as well. Mouthfeel is less important for watercolors. I wouldn't recommend testing that though. I think mouthfeel and the way it acts on paper, it's definitely comparable. Shall we have a look what this does with water? So xanthan gum, and I really don't know. Should be just a tiny bit, right? For a tiny bit, we're going to use a tiny muller, and I'm just going to mix it with a muller. I don't know, feels appropriate. I don't know if it is. I think this is the least interesting thing I can show you, making water thick. Because you barely see a thing. I really need to get in a certain angle to see the reflection of the water to actually see it thickening. It does thicken, by the way. It does thicken quite a lot already. This is interesting. That was a minimal amount of gum with just 20 spritzes of water. It's a very minimum amount of the pigment plays. And the consistency, how's that? Okay, I do think I'm about to scrape water onto a pile for the first time in my life when I'm finished with this, because it looks very promising. Well, I definitely believe that sentient, because what I used, I think, was a little bit more than 1%, and it's actually That was water. Okay, this is so weird. So this is water. A scooped together pile of water. And there's a little bit of color in there. It looks like spit. Yeah, it probably. I'm sorry. I'm just going to share that with you. This is like. That is so weird. Yeah, it does. Okay, so you need 1% to have the optimal performance of it. At least isn't it on the bottle? No, only says how it's used for hot and cold, keeping it dry, dark, and cool place. Blah blah blah. No, not how to use it. But I don't want to have a pudding spit, a jelly-like consistency, because that's what it is. It's like it's jelly, it's gelatin-ish. I don't want to have gelatin. I know it's dead silent right now here on my side, but my head is like screaming 20 voices at once. I want my gum arabic to be syrupy, and right now what it is, it's very syrupy. It's too syrupy. But there's a difference between syrupy and the blob that this makes. It's not syrupy. It's still, I think, looser in its viscosity than a syrup, but it falls together like. That's disgusting. Yeah, I know, Sentient. You know, if I want to try an addition like this, I need to be very precise with that. I need to look it up. So what we can do is we are going to add even more, twice the amount that I just used. I'm just eyeballing it with twice the amount right now. So we're making like a thick spit now. Sorry for this live stream. Has a kind of a, I don't know, it's a weird smell. It's not chemical. It's definitely something I'm not used to. Now it's glue. Now it's like the wallpaper glue kind of. I'm getting a notification again there. I don't like wallpaper glue as a consistency at all. I don't want to have that. But I want to see what happens if I just add a tiny drop of this to like a teaspoon of my existing gum arabic. So if I just as an experiment, because that's what we're doing today here. Oh, my Muller flint went away, flew away, flint went away. Wow. I don't like the consistency of this. I know you can barely see me do anything. I don't like it. Oh god. Oh, it's... yeah. It went from spit to snot. This is just like scraping off boogers off my slab. I'm so sorry for this, guys. This is terrible. Ugh. Okay, anyway. Just eyeballing everything I'm doing here. I want to use a clean palette knife. Just adding a bit of the thickened. I want to say this, but this is ridiculous how thick this is. I mean, well, it doesn't want to fall off. You can see it's not syrupy. It's like... I do have to say it actually mixes pretty well. I didn't expect that to. I thought, you know, it would be some weird kind of... It's still runny enough for... It's not like this jellyfish over there. Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry about this. It's like it's it's like I had a very bad cold and just shared my insides with you. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. The very tiny amount of binder that I just mixed with the even tinier amount of snot. Trusty old, literally this is an old version. Maybe it's a waste to use a very old bottle of old ultramarine blue here, but otherwise we'll barely use it. Just throwing that on. I will share with you what I'm seeing here. Just going to add a little bit more to the mix. Then I'm okay, something is happening here, and I'm going to look it up. Yeah, that's what I... Okay, so what I was looking for... wait, what did I miss? Yeah, oh yes. Can't argue with that. I was afraid, but that I think it's just the old ultramarine, since I don't smell it anymore. If xanthan gum is acidic, because if I use ultramarine with that, a sulfur gas will make me turn this life off and leave my studio. But it's not. Xanthan gum molecules are acidic with glucuronic acid residues, which are blah 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 blah. Sorry, that's too difficult for me. However, commercial xanthan gum mostly exists in the form of neutral salts, so the solution is generally neutral. So since I did smell a little bit of sulfur, which you always smell with ultramarine, I was afraid, like, okay, is this this is like neutral, but I don't smell it anymore. Everything is okay. So paint-wise, this consistency is still very much like, Sentient. There's an awesome way to test if you have ultramarine green, for instance. It's a great way to test this. I don't recommend doing this all the time. This was a page I did for the ultramarine green video. This ultramarine green, blue, violet, pink, obviously, and this is how it acts with an acidic addition. It can be lemon juice. So the most aggressive reaction is with ultramarine green. It turns into a highlighter yellow, but by adding acid to your ultramarine pigment, sulfuric gases will come out of it as a reaction, which can be highly toxic in larger quantities. A drop of lemon juice on a swatch like that stinks, but isn't poisonous in that quantity, isn't toxic in that quantity. If I would use this amount of pigment and I would add the same amount of lemon juice to it, this could be a toxic gas very, very quickly. It stinks, but also is very bad for you. So I would never suggest doing those things together. It's not a nice smell, that's one. I do have, my mask for when I'm working with pigments actually is let me get it, does filter out the toxic gases as well. So for me, if by accident this would have happened, I would quickly put on my mask and clean it up. But yeah, thank you. For me, this now is still not much of a difference. It's a little bit thicker. Just going to do the unthinkable and add a little bit more of that snot. That is better. But especially when I lift up my... So what I'm going to show you. What it does, what I don't like, so I'm not going to use this. Oh, it's going to lag. It's going to lag, guys. I'm so sorry for this. I think it is, by the way. So what it's doing here, look when I lift it up. So you see that little string of paint that sticks and then breaks. I don't know if you see it because I'm really afraid there is a lag. It's laggy a bit. Yeah. So what you see here, I'm just going to try it, you know, but the way that drops is not what I want my paint to look like. A syrup doesn't like make a string like this and then just snaps. That's what a glue does. That's what, you know, or slime or something like that. I don't like the way it behaves. So for what I am doing all days, sorry, I'm trying to make a thicker paint by, in this case I added xanthan gum, and I haven't even painted it out, but I don't like the consistency. I don't like how it flows off my palette knife, so I'm sure I don't like how it's going to flow on paper, but let's try that out. I really don't know if there's anyone here who knows things about YouTube that can advise me on why this happens. My settings are fantastic. Here I have a very good computer, which I mostly bought last year for this purpose and editing and stuff like that. It can handle it. My CPU is at 5%. My computer has no issues. And yet there's a big yellow bar for YouTube that it doesn't receive enough video for a smooth stream. Why doesn't it receive enough video for a smooth stream? That's really, I don't get that. So I don't get why that happened. Yesterday it happened like for 5 minutes. Now it happened like for 30 seconds, a minute maybe. I don't know. I do want to know because I find it really annoying. Yeah, but it okay, so there's the flow. Here's a flow happening here in a weird way as well. So I'm going to show you, I only added water, but this flow is weirdly looking. Okay, so I just want to make a smooth, let me just get, I'm sorry. So the paper is rejecting a bit of it. It's not my paper because I literally used the same paper yesterday, the other half of this. I use fiber. I'm always connected by cables. And I have like 1000 MB per second internet connection. Not like, that's exactly what I get. And here, through the cables, that translates into 940 Mbps for a technical part. I ran the Blackmagic speed test. For those of you who know what that is, I would be able to stream or record. I can, you know, my hardware and software are capable of streaming, an internet connection are capable of streaming 8K in 30 plus FPS. I think I'm streaming now at 1080p, 60 FPS. Maybe I can dial that down to 30. My bitrate is 10,000 with a strong flow, 0 dropped frames on my side, CPU running at 5%, the FPS is running at 37 out of the 60. So maybe I can dial that back down to 60, to 30, I'm sorry. This is a camera that does 60, and now it runs at 60, okay. Oh, this is interesting, okay. This is a camera that should run on 60 as well. And if I have that running on, it goes down to 36 FPS. Okay, okay, this is interesting. Now, third camera goes with this. And instead of 36, that goes to 32 frames per second. Okay. Thank you. Because now I'm just going to check every camera. I'm sorry, guys. This is weird because this camera is 30 frames per second, but it's streaming at 60 frames per second. Mulligan close up. Whereas this one was 36. Yeah, 36. This one, .42. Okay, there's a difference there. Microscope. Is there a microscope here? That's my phone, isn't it? Is my phone? No, it's not my phone. Is my phone still here? Is my phone connected? My phone is connected, yes. That is running at, just going to put it on my desk, 50 frames per second. This is my phone and talking, 36 frames per second. Okay, so two cameras are 36, at least two high quality cameras. Close up, oh, this is the wrong way around. It should mirror this. 55, that's that camera as well. Screen record from the live stream, there you are, guys. And me, that's 30 frames per second. This is going to get weird, I think. 28 frames per second, doesn't like that. I can put it in something more interesting for you though. 42. So this should be higher, I think. Although I have an image around me. 50 frames per second. Okay, so thank you. I want to say sentient then, but phone line fiber, that was Ian, I think Ian or Rick? I don't know, thank you for mentioning something that made me think of something else, but I'm just going to dial my settings down to 30 FPS. What kind of stream can you select? Is anyone on a computer looking at the quality? How high can you set that? Could someone check that for me? Maybe. For me, it says 1080p 60. And I actually thought my output would be 30. So that is interesting. About the swatch, so let's get back to the thing that we're actually doing here. There's no granulation whatsoever. It's also drying up very flat. I don't like this. I mean, it looks like a very vibrant one. but having a little bit, you know, it's a different angle with light as well. But as you can see, there's barely any granulation because of the snot. So yeah. Which stream key am I using then? Default one with the variable frames. Okay. Could probably not change this while I'm streaming. This is ultramarine blue. It's old, a very old one. I don't know. I would say antique. Output. No, I can't change output here now, which is kind of makes sense while I'm streaming. That I'm not able to change anything. No, 1080p 60, that's kind of the max. I did stream on 4K like beginning of September, I think, and that went perfectly as well. You could just, you know, select 4K and that went absolutely fine without any issues. So the issues started last week. I don't know, probably because of a YouTube thing on their side, because I didn't change any settings. Yeah, 60 frames. I actually don't like movies in 60 frames. But you know, I thought for milling, it is, you can see it a bit. For milling, that will be, since I'm moving fast, it will be more interesting to use the option because there is an option. For people who stream games and stuff like that, 60 FPS is like the standard. But I'm not. And it was flickering then, just now. Is that with you as well? Old days, that is the tiniest muller I have, yes. No, it's not true, by the way. That's not true. The tiniest one is the one in my travel bag. It's tinier, also different shape. So yeah, I don't like this 1 bit, to be honest. So I'm going to clean up the snot, and there's, while I'm cleaning up, I can put a little bit of ultramarine blue here in a syringe, because I measured how much goes into my pans, and if you want to know the answer for that, it is 3.1 milliliters of paint that go into a half pan of paint of mine when it's dry. So I'm letting it dry, and 3.1 milliliters of paint go into a half pan. So that is when it's fully evaporated. And then you have a pan that looks like this. So fully filled this is what I call a professionally filled pen. Not because I do it more professionally than others, but it's not a muffin top. And I've never done like the big muffin tops you see, especially with mica paints. Thank you, Rick. Because, you know, when you're an artist and you put this into your painter's palette, your travel palette, and you have muffin tops touching each other, your paint will get a mess, your art will get a mess, it will mix, it will be a full uncontrollable mess. So I like this as a maximum. Sometimes there's a little bit of more paint in this, but for half pans I think that's kind of the maximum. There's that. I need a clean brush. For those of you who are paying real attention and ask, you know, is that the same ultramarine blue pigment you're using as, you know, the one you just used? Yes, it actually is. Although here, well, here it's like the paint that looks really concentrated because it is. Was just, you know, a wash. This is the one that was swatched with the xanthan gum. Let me try to make the swatch the same size. This one isn't. Sylvie, welcome. I'm so sorry if I didn't see you before in the chat. Were you here in the chat before? No, you didn't. I received your package, by the way, Sylvie. Thank you so much for the kind note and the stickers. I'm going to give those to my girls if you don't mind. They will be very happy with it. And a little dot. I started the stream with it, by the way. So I got a little package from Sylvie with a cute dot with her logo on it. And some rocks which I will pulverize and try to make paint out of, kind of violet reddish rocks. So we're going to see if that's going to work. I'm not going to do that during a live because that's just going to make too much of a noise. But yeah, this stream was basically just experimenting for the last hour and a half. Sebastian, welcome. So what I did, I'm probably going offline. Thank you so much. I thought they were. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. So for the last hour and 45 minutes, I've been thinking, I've been experimenting. So what I did, for those of you who just arrived, I made baby food. No, this is gum arabic powder with half the amount of water than I usually use, and it didn't dissolve all of it. So I'm going to let it settle, but it's really foamy. It's terribly foamy. Is there still a clean palette knife here? No, I'm not even. I'm just going to let it settle. So I did that for the first part. And then I was thinking about other things. So this little pile of goo, what you see over here, is actually water with xanthan gum, which you can just see looks like snot. And I tried mixing a little bit of that with ultramarine blue paint, which ended up like this, and it's flat. Whereas this, and you can see the granulation a bit, although I tried to make a same kind of wash as I made here. This dries really flat, and you can see the granulation a little bit better with this one. This is my own binder, like my binder as I would usually do, and this is with a little bit of xanthan gum snot added to my own binder. So it does have influence on how it dries. Also on how it feels and looks, because the paint was kind of springy. When I lifted the paint up, it wasn't like a syrupy flow, but it was like a streak of paint that just broke. And it's just, yeah. So that was an experiment what I tried to make a thicker binder. Part of it is still settling though, so the part of the gum arabic powder with less water, I'm just letting that settle. I will come back to that tonight, so I'm probably going to share that with you, how that looks. Other than that, if anyone has any input or advice or anything or ideas how to make a thicker binder that will just feel the same as the binder I'm currently making in a traditional way, please let me know. Please let me know. I'm open for anything. It's not like I'm desperate or anything, but I want to try anything, everything to get this out of my system. Maybe it doesn't work, and maybe I just need to settle with a thinner paint. Maybe I'm going to reduce the binder that I already have, which I don't think is a good idea actually, because the glycerin and honey will be heated up as well. I don't know if that has any influence on it. So that wouldn't be a neutral test, would it? Cellulose. I was thinking about that as well. Doesn't that also really change the consistency of the paint? Like, not in a thicker way, but also the I don't know what's the best word for it, viscosity or consistency. I want a consistency that is a thick syrup, and the viscosity must be thicker. It must be a thicker liquid. Jacqueline, welcome. Did I leaf through the books of Dover on paints and paint making? I didn't. I didn't. Yeah, that's what I thought, Mr. Pigments. The jelly-like consistency, I don't like. The xanthan gum I used is does the same thing, and anything that resembles a jelly-like something, I don't wanna use that. That's what I just saw, and I don't like the look and feel to it. Methyl cellulose. Let me have a look what that does. Used for thickening paints. I can get it for 11 euros. But yeah, I don't know. I actually don't want to add anything. That's why I started with half the water in the gum arabic in the first place. I don't want to. I think Jacqueline, I think I do have a copy of that, a reprint of that, and I was just looking if I can find a digital version of it to quickly look through. Yeah, but Mr. Pigment's same goes for xanthan gum. It thickened the water in a way that it made it feel like my gum arabic, like a little bit more stringy maybe, but still syrupy. It's still a little bit thicker. But when I want to try the thickness that I'm after, think oil paint. Think a thick, stiff oil paint with that leaf peaks, things like that. I also got the question, why do I want to do this? Well, I spoke about this yesterday, and then I need to think about dinner, so I'm just telling this and then I go offline. For the 3-roll mill I have here, a thicker paint consistency is easier. It's more controllable. It's not that I have no control, but I have more control when it's a little bit thicker, a little bit. For paint in tubes, which was a request from Mark, and I got the question before, for tube paint, a thicker consistency is also very desirable. They will get more expensive though, since there's less water content. If this method works, if I make my existing binder thicker by adding a thickening agent, I wouldn't change the price because the binder pigment ratio would be the same. And the amount of paint that would fit in it would be the same as well, only thicker. So yeah, loads of thoughts. Maybe shear thinning is good, but viscoelastic is bad. I'm not sure I entirely know what you mean with that. Yeah, I can leave it at that. Guys, I need to go offline. I will be back tonight, though, I think, because this experiment is long from over, and I'm going to read your sentence again, sentient. I think it is, yeah. I don't know exactly what viscoelastic means, but I think it feels like you're on the right track there. Yeah, Mr. Pigments, yes. But those are regular ingredients for oil paint. But I've seen paint makers for watercolor paint that also use a 3-roll mill with very thick paints. And no one wants to answer why it's that thick. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for joining, everyone. Hopefully I'll be back in an hour or maybe 2, because I'm not letting go of this. I wanna find a solution. I'm not sure if we're going to find a solution. I'm going to find a solution today. What does the gum arabic look like right now? I can show you that just right before I leave. You can't see a thing. I'm so sorry. It looks like this. So it's foam on top right now. This message does come through, Sebastian. So I'm going. I'm also going to change the FPS of my stream to see if tonight we'll have issues again. Thanks everyone, and see you soon.